Archangel Michael says, the moment your image was carried into the hands of a seer, a vibration of fear filled the room. The friend you once trusted more than yourself has turned into a silent danger, weaving shadows against your destiny. A plan is moving beneath the surface, and it carries the weight of betrayal you never thought possible. The seer looked into your picture and trembled, realizing that forces were being pushed to cut your path short. She warned that someone close, too close, was praying not for your rise but for your final fall. The air around you has grown heavier because her intention has already been released into the unseen realm. What she saw in your photograph was not a blessing, but an invocation of darkness trying to touch your breath. She gasped, unable to hide the horror, because the intent was not just jealousy but destruction. Every step you take now is under the watchful eye of someone who pretends to smile yet secretly sharpens the blade of envy. But here is the truth, her plot will not succeed. What she touched will burn her hands, what she whispered will echo against her. For every dark intention pointed toward you, a shield is rising higher to break it apart. Type Amen 333 to get blessing. The friend thought the seer would confirm her victory, but instead she walked away disturbed. She realized the forces she had called were now circling her own life. The attempt to bring you to your last breath became the rope she tied around herself unknowingly. She wanted your end, but Archangel Michael has already shifted the direction. The same spiritual mirror that reflected her intent now reflects her consequence. That is why the seer was left speechless, unable to continue, because she saw the backlash already forming. You may feel chills when you think of her, and that is no coincidence. It is the confirmation that her mask has been removed in the spiritual realm. She cannot hide the weight of what she attempted. It follows her everywhere. The heavens are alert, and nothing spoken against you shall manifest. Instead, everything she planned to break you will return to her doorstep. That is why your life still carries light while hers grows dim. Type Amen 444 to get blessing. Her friendship was always a disguise, a cloak she wore to gain your trust. But behind the smile was a heart that couldn't stand to see your rise. She took what was sacred, your picture, your essence, and tried to twist it into a weapon. The seer's hands trembled as she held it, because she saw what was not supposed to be seen. She whispered under her breath, stunned by the level of betrayal. It was not just jealousy, it was an obsession with trying to silence your destiny forever. That friend believed no one would ever find out, that her steps were hidden. But even in the darkest silence, every intention speaks loudly to the spiritual realm. Her secret has already been exposed, and her actions are no longer buried. The night she visited that seer, a storm began to form around her soul. The moment your image was placed in front of her, heaven began to fight back. The seer herself warned that the hand that carries destruction will also carry its punishment. Type Amen 555 to get blessing. This is why Archangel Michael says, be still but be aware. The betrayal around you is no longer a shadow, it has a face, it has a name, it has a hand that reached for you. Yet the protection over you is greater than the trap set beneath you. Every dark prayer spoken against you will bend into ashes. Every image they tried to twist will glow brighter than before. Their desperation to end your breath will only breathe new life into your spirit. Even now, whispers are circling around them, because others are beginning to notice their change. Their eyes are restless, their words are shaky, and their energy cannot stay calm. That is the sign that guilt is already eating them alive. You are not walking into danger unprotected. The one who wished you gone is stepping into their own trap. The more they chase your downfall, the faster their own walls will crumble. Type Amen 666 to get blessing. The seer could not shake the vision she saw when your photograph touched her table. Shadows wrapped around the image, but suddenly, a light pierced through, making her heart skip. She knew at once that the person who brought it carried dark intentions, but the heavens had already intervened. The friend expected a prophecy of your downfall, yet what she received was terror. The seer told her that the forces she tried to awaken would not obey her. Instead, they recoiled, recognizing the divine protection standing over your life. When she left that room, her steps were unsteady, her breath shallow. She realized too late that she had crossed a line that could never be erased. Her plan for your last breath became the curse that will trail her own life. Even now, her spirit is restless because she feels the weight of what she tried to summon. Nothing will give her peace, no matter how she pretends in front of others. She played with fire, and it is burning the ground beneath her. Type Amen 777 to get blessing. Your picture was meant to be a tool of harm, yet it became a weapon of reversal. Every whisper she released in secret has now been chained back to her. The seer warned that she would not escape the consequences of her actions. Archangel Michael says, "The betrayal was deeper than you imagined, but you are not alone. The shield around you is unbreakable, even when touched by envy, hatred, or hidden malice." That is why every plan she carried in silence is now being shattered openly. You may notice her avoiding your gaze, her smile weaker than before. This is because her conscience cannot hide the truth anymore. She knows that what she did in the dark is already being pulled into the light. What she thought was power became poison to her own spirit. The same path she carved for you is now drawing her into chaos. Every breath she wished away from you will echo back into her own. Type Amen 888 to get blessing. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. The seer's words linger in her mind like thunder. She cannot forget the warning that what is meant for evil will circle back to its sender. That is why her days are filled with unease and her nights bring no rest. She thought betrayal would bring her victory, but instead, it marked her downfall. Every step she takes now feels heavy, every glance around her feels suspicious. She knows that she has been caught in the very snare she set for you. Even those around her are beginning to sense something is wrong. Her laughter rings hollow, her words lack weight, and her actions betray the guilt she carries. No mask can hide the shadows that follow her now. Her jealousy was a seed she planted long ago, and this trip to the seer was her attempt to water it. But what she failed to understand was that heaven will never allow her seed to grow. Only light and blessing can bloom around you. Type Amen 999 to get blessing. The night of her visit still lingers in the air like a curse that failed to land. She walked out of that room trembling, trying to pretend nothing happened, yet the seer's words ring in her ears. What was meant to silence your life has now sealed her own fate. Your image, when placed before those forces, refused to bend. A shield rose up that even the seer could not explain, a light so fierce it shook her hands. She admitted in whispers that you are guarded by something far beyond her sight. The friend's heart froze when she heard that, because she never imagined her intent would be stopped so suddenly. She thought she was untouchable, but the very act exposed her soul. The betrayal she tried to keep hidden now follows her everywhere. Archangel Michael says, "This is why your spirit has been restless, sensing a storm around you. It is not a storm sent against you, it is a storm returning to her, crashing against her own life. The heavens are making sure no harm reaches you." Type Amen 222 to get blessing. Even as she smiles in front of you, her hands are trembling when no one sees. She is haunted by the memory of the seer recoiling from your photograph. She cannot erase that image, and it gnaws at her spirit like fire. Every time she thinks of you now, it is not victory she sees, but her own reflection falling apart. She wished your last breath, yet her own is shortened by the fear of what she set into motion. Her betrayal has become her prison. Others around her are starting to notice her decline. They wonder why her eyes look distant, why her laughter feels forced. It is the weight of the secret that grows heavier with each passing hour. Your name was spoken in darkness, but heaven answered with light. That is why you are still standing while she collapses inside. What was once hidden in shadows is now screaming in her conscience. Type Amen 333 to get blessing. The seer herself warned her that she could not escape. She said the forces she tried to control would never obey her against someone marked by divine hands. She left the room terrified, realizing she had unleashed a battle she could not win. Your picture was not a gateway for destruction, it became a mirror. Every dark prayer she whispered toward it bounced back like fire against her. What she thought would end you has already begun to end her. This is why she avoids certain places now, afraid to cross paths with the truth. She knows if she's asked too many questions, her mask will crumble. The betrayal is too heavy to carry without breaking. And soon, her silence will betray her even more than her words. People will sense the guilt in her presence, and no excuse will cover it. The heavens have already marked her. Type Amen 444 to get blessing. You are not to be afraid, because what was meant for you has been reversed. The attempt to tie your life has become a knot around her own destiny. She cannot move forward without stumbling over what she tried to do. Archangel Michael says, the betrayal was deep, but your protection runs deeper. Her hands that carried your photograph into darkness are now stained by the very act. That is why she trembles whenever she thinks of you. You may feel waves of heaviness when she is near, but know this, it is not your spirit being touched, it is hers being exposed. The light around you is making it harder for her to breathe in her lies. Her plan for your last breath is now the reason she cannot rest. The one who wanted you silent will be the one silenced by the echoes of her own actions. Justice has already begun. Type Amen 555 to get blessing. The friend thought she was clever, hiding her steps in the shadows. She believed no one would ever uncover the truth of what she carried in her heart. But the night she handed your picture to the seer, the heavens recorded every move. The seer's eyes grew wide, her breath caught in her chest, and she warned that this act would not end as expected. She saw your life wrapped in divine fire, impossible to touch. Instead, she saw the friend who betrayed you drowning in the very pit she tried to dig. From that moment, a chain reaction began. Everywhere she goes now, she feels watched, haunted by her own choices. She smiles to hide her fear, but the silence of her conscience grows louder each day. Archangel Michael says, the enemy can never hide behind a false smile for long. Masks may fool people, but they cannot fool the light. Every shadow will eventually be chased away by truth. Type Amen 666 to get blessing. You may have felt uneasy lately, as though someone's eyes were pressing against your back. That was her spirit clashing against the shield around you. The tension you felt was the war between her intent and your protection. The seer told her something that shook her more than anything else. She said that the one she wanted gone is untouchable, chosen, sealed by divine power. That truth hit her like lightning, leaving her shaken and afraid. Still, she carried envy like a weapon, refusing to let go of her bitterness. But what she doesn't realize is that envy is a blade that cuts the hand that holds it. The more she clings to it, the more her own life is bleeding. Even those who stand near her are starting to pull back. They sense the heaviness she carries, the storm hovering above her head. What she tried to hide is now leaking into her very presence. Type Amen 777 to get blessing. The heavens will not allow her plan to succeed, not even for a moment. Every rope she tied around your destiny is snapping before it can hold. The more she fights against you, the more she loses her own strength. Her betrayal is now a weight she cannot escape. She sees reminders of you everywhere, and with each reminder, guilt swells in her chest. The memory of the seer's trembling hands torments her daily. Your photograph carries the truth of who you are, guarded, chosen, protected. That is why her scheme failed the moment it began. No darkness can rewrite the path heaven already declared for you. And so, her downfall becomes a lesson she cannot escape. The fire she tried to send at you now lights the destruction of her own lies. This is the justice that cannot be avoided. Type Amen 888 to get blessing. She may still try to pretend, wearing her false smile like a mask. But her eyes betray her, fear lingers in them, and no amount of laughter can cover it. Those who look closely will see the truth she tries to bury. At night, her dreams betray her even more. She sees flames, shadows, and echoes of your name she cannot silence. Her sleep is broken because she invited darkness into her own life. The seer's final words echo in her ears like a curse: you cannot destroy one who is sealed by light. Those words became the chains around her own soul. She will never escape what she tried to summon. Archangel Michael says, your protection grows stronger with every failed attempt. Her darkness only proves how brightly your spirit shines. You are unshakable, and nothing she does can ever erase that. Type Amen 999 to get blessing. Her betrayal was written in silence long before the seer touched your picture. Each false smile, each shallow word, carried the seed of her envy. But when she tried to act on it, the seed became a thorn piercing her own hands. The seer recoiled when she saw your image. Light burst out where she expected darkness, and her eyes filled with shock. She told your so-called friend that what she attempted was forbidden, and the price would be unbearable. From that moment, the air around her shifted. People she once charmed began stepping back, sensing something unsettled. She could not wash away the weight of what she had tried to do. The spiritual realm marked her instantly. Her name is now tied to her own destruction, not yours. The heavens turned her intent upside down the moment she handed over your photograph. Type Amen 111 to get blessing. She still tries to hide behind laughter, but her spirit is restless. Every corner she turns, she feels eyes staring through her disguise. That fear is not imagination, it is the reflection of what she tried to summon. The seer warned her that she had unleashed something she could not control. She reminded her that what is chosen cannot be touched by jealousy. But your so-called friend left the room shaking, knowing she had crossed a line too far. Her steps have not been steady since that night. She cannot find comfort, no matter where she turns. Even when surrounded by people, she feels alone under the weight of her secret. Your protection is stronger than her plans. The light around you blinds every force she tried to awaken. What was meant to end you has only strengthened your shield. Type Amen 222 to get blessing. Archangel Michael says, "You are not to fear this betrayal, for the enemy has already defeated herself." Her envy became her prison, and her actions sealed the door shut. What she wished upon you now lives inside her own spirit. Your photograph was not just an image, it was a symbol of your destiny. The moment she tried to use it, she gave power to the very protection standing over you. That is why the seer trembled, unable to continue her rituals. Now, she carries the memory of that warning like a curse. No matter how she smiles, she cannot silence the voice telling her that justice is near. The guilt grows heavier with every breath. Soon, those around her will begin to see through her mask. They will ask why her joy is gone, why her eyes are dim. The truth will echo louder until she cannot hide it anymore. Type Amen 333 to get blessing. The betrayal has already returned to her life in ways she cannot stop. Doors she thought were open are now closing. Opportunities are slipping away, and the peace she once had has been shattered. You, however, are rising in strength. What was meant to destroy you is now lifting you higher. Her envy could not touch your destiny, it only fueled it. The seer herself has been haunted since that night. She felt the force of divine protection around your picture, and it shook her spirit. She warned that nothing sent against you will ever succeed. Even now, as you read this, heaven is turning her curses into your blessings. Every plan she carried in secret is collapsing before it begins. You are untouchable, because you are chosen. Type Amen 444 to get blessing. The night she placed your picture before the seer, she thought she was sealing your fate. What she did not expect was the seer recoiling as though burned, her voice breaking with fear. The energy from your image pushed back, sending a wave of light that made the entire room tremble. Her heart dropped as she realized the powers she trusted would not listen. They refused to obey because the light guarding you was stronger than the darkness she tried to awaken. What she carried in jealousy has now become her greatest curse. From that moment, shadows began to cling to her. She feels them at night, whispering. Her own name, reminding her of what she attempted. The betrayal she plotted in silence now walks beside her everywhere she goes. Archangel Michael says, the truth of who you are cannot be touched. The enemy thought they could silence your breath, but your destiny is sealed in a higher place. That is why every plan she created shattered before it reached you. Type Amen 555 to get blessing. She hides her fear behind forced laughter, but her body betrays her with trembling hands. Those closest to her sense something is wrong, though they cannot explain it. The more she tries to act normal, the more her guilt leaks through. The seer warned her clearly, the one you brought here is not yours to destroy. Those words ring in her head every time she closes her eyes. They chase her like shadows, stripping away her peace. She hoped the act would free her from her envy, but instead it chained her spirit even more. Now she is restless, tormented, unable to escape the memory of what she attempted. Her silence is heavy because it carries the weight of her guilt. Meanwhile, you continue to rise higher, untouched by her malice. Every breath you take proves her failure. Every step you walk exposes her defeat. Type Amen 666 to get blessing. Your picture became her downfall. She thought it was her weapon, but it turned into a mirror reflecting her own darkness. What she meant for your end became the seed of her own destruction. The heavens recorded every detail, every whisper, every step. Nothing she planned in secrecy has escaped divine eyes. That is why she now feels cornered, even in a crowd. Her envy is no longer hidden, it shows in her eyes, it trembles in her voice. Those who once trusted her are beginning to question her heart. The betrayal is leaking into the open. You, however, are untouchable. What was sent against you is now fueling your blessings. The very plot meant for your last breath is breathing new life into your destiny. Type Amen 777 to get blessing. She cannot undo what she has done. The door she opened will not close, and the spirits she stirred have turned against her. Every attempt to silence the guilt only deepens her torment. The seer herself refuses to see her again, shaken by the power she witnessed. She warned others of the danger of touching a life that carries divine fire. That night is still remembered as a moment of fear and revelation. Now, the betrayer is left to carry the weight alone. No seer can protect her, no ritual can save her, no darkness can shield her from the light chasing her. She is trapped in the web she spun for you. Archangel Michael says, you are free, guarded, chosen. The betrayal will never touch you, for your path is sealed by heaven's decree. The one who wished you gone has only cursed herself. Type Amen 888 to get blessing.